Hey guys, welcome to the Commander Lounge. This is gonna be a little different of a video. Usually I do, Commander deck techs or Pauper deck techs. I'm really big into those, or just my opinions on kind of play styles and play groups and stuff like that, or how to play the game and stuff like that, and different stuff like that. But honestly, there's been one format I've steered clear of for a lot of the time I've been playing Magic, and I'm finally gonna dive into Modern. Maybe I guess the spiky side of me came in, but I had a blast doing the Modern Masters drafts and stuff, and I think I did a sealed event too, which I think was a PPTQ, sealed event too of Modern Masters, and I had a blast. But me and my buddies, we ended up drafting two boxes together of it, and we decided on the way back from our buddies, we decided why don't we all just get into Modern, try it out. So we ended up doing that. So yeah, I decided to. I remember seeing at Star City Open, that Revolt Zoo deck that came out right after the last set came out. I saw that open, and then a buddy of mine actually brought it up in the car when we were driving back that they had a Revolt Zoo, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember that deck. I was like, I definitely do that. So that's my playstyle. I love Gruul. I love aggro decks. Why not build a Revolt Zoo? So that's what I have for you guys today. Is my Revolt. My Modern Revolt Zoo deck. So yeah, let's get into the deck tech. We start out with 4 Wooded Foothills because we want all the fetches. There's gonna be a ton of fetches in here. You need all the fetches to keep triggering Revolt. So from playset of Wooded Foothills, then a playset of Arid Mesas, and then a playset of Windswept Heaths. Gotta have all the fetches. Alright, so next is the Shocklands, which we run Stomping Grounds. We run a 2 of Stomping Grounds, a 1 of Sacred Foundry, and a 1 of Temple Garden. Then 1 Forest, which is mainly against. I don't think Blood Moon hurts this deck too much, but we run it. We make sure to have a Forest just in case if we need to grab Forest turn 1 against Blood Moon decks. And then also in the mana spot is Simian Spirit Guide. Another thing that made me so hesitant of Modern is it felt so unstable maybe at that time because a lot of decks were going. Like a lot of decks that either maybe shouldn't have gone. Some of them definitely should have, like Pod. Pod seemed too good. But yeah, I just felt so unstable. I felt like there were so many things on the chopping block. And honestly, I felt safe building this deck because I feel like this is the only card on the chopping block. Because usually getting something for nothing is a problem. I mean, that's why Gataxian Probe's gone now, too. And especially getting mana for nothing, even if it's for a turn, that can be dirty. And in an aggressive deck, I mean, this card right here can actually make me have a turn 1, a possibility of a turn 1 play of dealing 14 damage, which is insane. Dealing 14 damage on turn 1 is nuts. It's nuts. So yeah, we run 2 Simian Spirit Guides for the gas, just to give us a ramp early. Now into the creatures, our little 1-drop beaters. Experiment 1 is a fantastic card. I'm so happy I held on to this foil. I almost traded it, but thank God I didn't. I'm so happy because in this deck, it's always going to be a 3/3, and you can attack with it. So you want to be so aggressive with this deck, but you don't have to worry about Experiment 1 dying though with him being so aggressive because you can remove 2 of the 1/1 counters to actually regenerate him to kind of build him up again and bash him in again. So we run 3 of those. I don't run a playset because I needed to make a cut with some of the extra stuff I put in. So I thought Experiment 1 was a safe one because I don't think he's too good in a starting hand in pairs. Because you definitely want him to be a 1 draw. He's not great to late game, and he's not good in multiples in your starting hand. So that's why I only run 3 of him. Next, Goblin Guide. You guys know Goblin Guide. It's Modern. It's a 2/2 haste for 1. I mean, it really doesn't matter about that ability. I mean, that ability, they had to give you a setback because that's 2/2 haste for 1 is so dang good. So yeah, we're going to play a set of Goblin Guides. Next is Curd Ape. Curd Ape is sweet. I only run 3 of Curd Ape because he got outclassed by a newer card that you're about to see, by a Revolt card. But I mean, it's Zoo. You can't have Zoo without 2/3 Ape. So yeah, run 3 of the 2/3 Apes. Alright, so this is the card that outclassed Curd Ape. I'm kind of sad that an Elf Warrior had to outclass it, but whatever. It doesn't feel as Zoo-ish, but once again, it is strong. You know, 1 mana for a 2/3 Death Toucher is sweet. And I've tested this deck out. I've played one match and I kind of solitaired it a couple times. And it is so tough to not be able to Revolt in this deck. You are constantly fetching in this deck. So yeah, we run a playset of Narnam because of that. Next is Wild Nikado. I mean, it's the main reason why we are in Naya. We go Naya because we always want this to be a 3/3. And then the perks of going Naya also in this deck is the access to, like, my sideboard is mostly white, has mostly white in it. So that is the reason why we go Naya, and that's the reason why we run Wild Nikado, because it's a 3/3 for 1. It is literally the biggest 1-drop. And I know you guys can say Vexing Devil is, but no, it's not. Wild Nikado is. Alright, next is Hidden Herbalist. This is basically Burning Tree Emissary minus you don't get the red. You don't get the mountain. You only get green. But it's so good to chain Hidden Herbalist with Burning Tree Emissary. It's just nuts. I mean, this gives your deck so much gas. This is why this deck feels more competitive now, as it might have been before, as compared to what it might have been before. I really think this is why I really wanted to build this deck also, is because of this card. This card went under the radar with me. I didn't see it as a Burning Tree Emissary when I first saw this card spoil. I think I just didn't like Revolt as a whole, because it felt so hard to make it a thing limited wise. Like, you really had to build around Revolt to make it a thing. But in this deck, like, in this format, period, the fetches, they make Revolt a thing. They make Revolt so good, especially if you can run so many fetches where it's so constant. Yeah, so that's why we run Hidden Herbalist. And Burning Tree Emissary, I mean, now I can say it, favorite Pauper Gruul card, since they printed it as common, which I don't know if that was the greatest move, but I mean, I think it's a great card in Pauper. I love it. I think it went good in my Zoo deck. So yeah, we run a playset of those. Like, they just give you so many good starts. So yeah. And now on to our win con, which is basically Reckless Bushwhacker. He's going to be winning you a ton of games. At first he's a 3 mana for a 2/1 haster, but if you surge it, that means if you cast a spell before it, you can pay its surge cost instead, and then he'll come in as a 2/1, pumping every other creature, giving them +1 in haste, which leads to crazy explosive starts in this deck. So yeah, we gotta run a full playset if it's our win con. Then I decided as backup we should run some Goblin Bushwhackers. Not as strong as the other Bushwhacker, because you can't chain Burning Tree Emissary into it unless you have a red up, unless you have like a Simian Spirit Guide, or you're able to tap for red also to do it. So it's a little slower than the other Surge Bushwhacker, but it's good, and it also pumps himself and gives him haste, which is sweet. So that's why we run 2 of. So on to my I think it's pretty much my absolute favorite card in Gruul, and that's Gore-Clan Rampager. When I first saw this card spoiled, I knew it was going to be a thing. I remember pre-release, I was verbally fighting with people saying this card is seeing play in Modern, at least. I was like, this card is fantastic, and I was right. I mean, I don't mean to toot my own horn, but I was happy I was right, because I'm a Gruul Clan fan. I mean, come on. But it's basically, in this deck, you are rarely going to cast it as a 4/4 trample, but when you do, it could be cool, because it could synergize with Experiment 1, turning him into a 4/4. But most of the time we're just going to be blood rushing it to either protect your dude, get in damage for the win, or kill something. Like, giving +4/+4 and trample for 2 mana is sweet. It's really good. So that's why I run 2 of Gore-Clan Rampagers. Now onto the spells. We run 3 Lightning Bolts to deal damage and kill things. And then 4 Atarka's Command. We run so many Atarka's Command because options. Options are fantastic in Magic. Not when you're giving it out to people, but when you actually have the options. It's fantastic, and you choose 2. Which mainly what you're going to be choosing is deal 3 damage to each opponent, and creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain reach. But the other 2, you can have your opponents can't gain life, which is very situational but can be very good. And you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield, which actually I think that's the only one that is not really that useful in this deck. I think in this deck, you're not going to be flooding it. I mean, you have to get really unlucky to flood in this deck because you only run 17 lands, and most of them are fetches, which are going to be filtering and keeping you from drawing into more lands eventually. So, I mean, Atarka's Command is fantastic, though, in this deck. It makes sure your aggressive starts stay aggressive. So, yeah, that is the main deck. Now going to the sideboard. I know I am new to Modern, so I'm not gonna be. This may not be a fantastic sideboard, but I have seen a little bit. I know the format's changed since I've constantly watched it, but I still watch it here and there. I'm going. My first thing is I'm going 3 Path to Exiles. We're mainly using them against matchups where basically wherever big creatures are around. If I'm playing against Tarmogoyf a lot, Tarmogoyf can just stop me in my tracks if I don't have a crazy explosive starts, and that's a problem. But also against like Bant Company decks using like Eldrazi's and stuff, big Eldrazi's, or even like I think Death and Taxes now have an Eldrazi version, which I also kind of want to keep from them having them big Eldrazi's out. And this kind of helps get around that. Also, anything else that's pumping out big creatures, we usually put the paths in, or they also go in against more like maybe the mirror match and like other aggressive decks when we need more. We need more removal, so we take out some Atarka commands probably for a couple more Path to Exile. So we have Lightning Bolts and Path to Exiles to make sure we're removing things. So that's why sideboard we run 3 Path to Exiles. Next is Destructive Revelry. I run 3 of those. And, mainly against Affinity and Boggles. But it could be also for Tron, it could be good. Anything that's running good artifacts and good enchantments that I gotta get out of there. Maybe, Blood Moon can hurt this deck, but Blood Moon also feels like it comes out too late where it's not really a thing because I've already gotten really aggressive by the time you put out Blood Moon. But it could be a Blood Moon grab also to get rid of Blood Moon. But I really like this card. This was another card I was really excited about when it got printed because I was like, this is definitely a more competitive card because not only does it, it's a naturalized, but it also keeps, for aggro decks, it keeps you on the aggro plane by dealing 2 damage also to the controller. Next is a 1-off of Ancient Grudge. This is strictly for Affinity. I could not say no to Ancient Grudge. This is a Gruul card also. It may not look like it from afar, but it is a Gruul card. Being able to destroy an artifact twice, you basically destroy 2 artifacts on 1 card for cheap, and I like that. So yeah, we run it. Next, Grafdigger's Cage, mainly for maybe Gift Storm or anything using Reanimate like Goyo's Vengeance or something like that, or even flashbacks for like once again like Storm or any type of control deck. Probably a good thing to put in. So yeah, that's why I run Grafdigger's Cage. Pretty good in some combo decks, depending on if they're utilizing the graveyard or not. Scavenging Ooze, same thing, using for graveyards and stuff like that. I also like using this, after the sideboard in like aggro games when it's like a racer against burn where I need to gain some life. Same thing with aggro, I need to gain some life. And hopefully I can get Scavenging Ooze big enough before they kill it. So that's why we only run a 1-of, because I wasn't too sure about Scavenging Ooze. I was like, I'd rather have the Grafdigger's Cage. Oh yeah, by the way, with the Grafdigger's Cage, that is also good against like company decks. Against using the company. I believe it works with company. Let me know in the comments below if it works against the actual card, that Collective Company it's called. But I know it works for Court of Calling, which is sweet. But once again, Scavenging Ooze, pretty decent. Next, I had 1 more card to fill. I was like, might as well fill it with a Pauper staple since I love Pauper. So that's what we did. I put a little Missionary just because I felt like I needed another card that gained me life, like against the fellow aggro matchups, maybe Death Shadow and stuff. I was thinking it'd be good to gain some life, especially against Burn. So yeah, we did a 1-of Lone Missionary. It seemed alright. Alright, now Thalia, Guardian Thraben. Run a 2-of. Basically use this against combo, like Storm Gifts, Control, any type of control decks, and burn decks I think are pretty good for it too, to tax burn. Just basically taxing, making sure I come out fast. I mean, this card keeps me from coming out as fast as running 2-of. I mean, it won't affect it too much, but it's nice to keep people from, tax people for doing their spells, because I don't want them to remove everything right away. And last but not least, if I know Boros Charm, I'm running 2 of those. If I know that people are residing into mass removal, or if I'm against something like Tron that automatically has like Oblivion Stone. Boros Charm seems good here because it gives all my permanents indestructibility. And the awesome thing about this card is the options. Like when it goes in, no matter what, it's always relevant because I can deal 4 damage to the face, or I can go crazy aggro and give one of my creatures double strike until end of turn. So that's it. So yeah, guys, that is my Revolt Zoo modern deck. Oh yeah, I need to show you guys this. Best start is Wooded Foothills, play it, crack, get your lands, Simian Spirit Guide, and then basically go Burning Tree Emissary, Burning Tree Emissary, Burning Tree Emissary, not that one. And then play the 3 Burning Tree Emissaries, or you can have some of them be Herbalists, it's alright. And then Surgeon, Reckless Bushwhacker. I believe that will get him 14 damage on turn 1. So that is your ideal start. I mean, that's your lucky start, obviously. You have to get quite lucky for that. But they don't all have to be Burning Tree Emissaries, so that makes it a little better. You need one, though. But yeah, guys, let me know what you guys think of Modern as a whole. Let me know what you guys think of this deck tech. I will have a link in the description below to a deck list of it. So yeah, I'm excited to test this deck out. There's a couple tournaments I want to take it to, and just let me know what you think of everything. And take it easy, guys. Bow bow.